Hi, I'm Stephen Wener of Whistle Realty, brokered by EXP, and this is the second part of our video series. This one, we're going to be talking about leads and what to do with leads and how to get them, most importantly. The first series that we did in this video series, the first episode, excuse me, was one that was all designed around how do you have a schedule, what do you do, what are your daily activities. But now that you're actually going to be engaging in these daily activities, now we have to know what to do with these leads, how to work them, how to convert them. So we're going to talk about the two types of leads that are out there as far as how to go after them. There's check equity and sweat equity, right? And then within those branches, we're going to be talking about what we can do. So let's just start with sweat equity, because not everybody has disposable income to throw into their business to work it at a much higher level. You're going to have to do the work. And that sweat equity looks like this. You're going to have your open houses. You're going to have your door knocking. You're going to have your phone calls, and those are the primary ones that are out there when it comes to sweat equity, but there are definitely others that you can think of. These are the primary. So when we're looking at the open housing, what are you doing? Who are you in that moment? You are a storefront. You're advertising that home for sale, just like any other store that's open for business. And what are you doing to advertise that? You're on social media. My writing is atrocious. You're also going to be mailing out flyers. You can put postcards out. You can circle dial around it. Even use, different systems that are out there for triple line dialers if your office has that. So anything that can improve the amount of time by mitigating it through tools like Mojo or other dialer systems, you can start to do that so that people know what's going on out there. And now your open house is posted, including all the signage that you put out before you actually do the open house, right? So now we've got open house. You did everything pretty much on your own. You didn't even have to pay to boost a post if you don't want to. You can go to all these real estate sites on Facebook, you can go on Instagram, just put it out there and people will find it. Now we're going to talk about door knocking, not just the typical door knocking for letting neighbors know that you're going to be in the area for an open house, but door knocking a farm, where you can talk to your title rep. I work with an amazing title team over at Tycor Title, and they've been phenomenal for me, and they provide so much value and information for what I need in order to get data. So you're going to go door knock in an area. They're going to tell you what the turnover ratio is, because you don't want to be just door knocking an area or farming an area if it doesn't have a minimum turnover of around 5%. So you need to know how many houses in that area, how long will it take you to door knock every one of those houses and build a loop around it. But don't just pick a farm because you really think it's nice. You really need the data behind it to make sure there's a turn rate. And then the phone calls, same thing. You can just get information from different providers out there where you can pull data on phone numbers, make sure the do not call list, scrub it for that, and then load it into your dialer. When I would do that in my triple line dialer through Mojo, I'd be able to make 200, 300, 400, 500, 600 phone calls in a matter of hours. And then you feel accomplished. So you just have a very little script that you have when you're calling in an area as well, and then you just cycle through it. So that's not going to take you anything but time. There's no money involved in that. Again, if your office has a triple line dialer, and you can just get a rep to pull all the information for you and put it in this dialer, now you can start calling. That's your sweat equity. So what does check equity look like? If you're going to do things like professional organizations, I'm part of one called Provisors, so you've got a professional organization. You're also going to have lead companies. I work primarily with a company called AgentZip. They send me 20 to 30 leads every single month. When I first started in the online lead space about 7 years ago, I was working with Realtor.com. So I've worked with Realtor.com, Zillow, and now my primary is AgentZip. But when you get those leads and you're paying for them, now you actually have the monthly spend, right? What do you do with them? So I'm going to be going in my third video series of how to break that phone call down, period, every single part of it. But what I want to let you know before I do that is a follow-up system. So even though I'm a little bit ahead of video 2, what I want to let you know is that there is a system that you need in place with everything that you do, from the sweat equity to the check equity, because the CRM, this is where it becomes critical. And your calendar makes it even more critical for blocking the time, right? Where is your time in the day that you're going to make these calls? When you go open housing or when you're door knocking? How are you using your CRM, period? How are you using it to follow up? Because so much of it is automated. So what I do, the first second a lead comes in through that automation, a text blast goes out, an email goes out, and then a phone call goes out within 5 minutes, preferably 10 seconds, because those times are shortening up dramatically because of all the competition in the space. Quicker you can make that phone call, the better. So for me, day one, twice I will call, text, email, as soon as it comes in, and then later on in the day if I haven't heard from them. And I'm going to repeat that pattern for the first 3 days in a row. So I've hit them 2, 4, 6 times in the first 3 days. On day 4, I'm going to take a break. On day 5, I'm going to come back and do that 3 times as far as call, text, and email. I won't hit them up twice. I'll wait a day. And then again, on the 7th day, I'll call, text, and email. If I haven't heard from them by the time 7 days go by, with 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16 times, okay, maybe they're not going to ever respond to me, but I'll keep dripping on them until they tell me off. Kind of like that, because the reality is you don't know what it is until the lead is absolutely dead because they've told you so. But until they tell you, why not work it? You probably can go to some agents you've met, you've known, some people in your office that have revived leads that are 2 years old. So you never know what, when, where, why, how. Everybody has what I call life happens. And sometimes people don't want to work on our schedule, which is most of the time actually. So what you're going to do when you get these leads, how to follow up with them, build a plan in your calendar and your CRM to do it. And on the 3rd video series, I'm actually going to dissect how to have this conversation. I'm Wener of Whistle Realty, brokered by EXP.